All right, in this video, we're going to be talking about trailing stops. Now, first of all, some platforms don't have the ability to set trailing stops. So if you don't have that, it can be difficult to use my strategy because I rely on trailing stops a lot. Now, that being said, if you don't have the ability to trailing stops, I will share with you a second alternative way that you can have a trailing stop, but it's more of a manual option. And I'm not as much of a fan of it because it's 50-50. I can usually profit considerably more with a trailing stop. So you may consider finding a platform that allows you to do trailing stops. Otherwise, you're leaving some money on the table, to be honest. Okay, so what does it do? What does a trailing stop do? Well, a trailing stop simply follows the market so that you don't lose too much money if the market decides to pull back. Typically speaking, again, there are tons of exceptions, but what I notice is that about my ATR, if you haven't watched my ATR video, I'll put it in the description. The ATR is the metric that I use to determine the market movements and whether or not it could potentially reverse. Now, it's not always accurate, but it's the best way that I've noticed that allows me to maximize my profits in a trend. If the price comes back a certain amount, typically speaking, that's the end of that trade. If it's not, I can catch a continuation and continue profiting from that trend anyways. So I'm not too worried about it if my stop loss, my trailing stop gets hit. Even after a short while, because I can usually jump back in if it's a continuation, or it could be a reversal and I'll just jump back in on that. So yeah, the trailing stop, the idea of it is to not have to watch your trade so much. This is the thing. There's a psychological game that occurs. Now, some people, they have no issues. They can sit there and watch the trade, the number, and how far they've gone, how many pips they have, and what the profit, what the dollar amount on their profit is. They can watch it and not have anything like register as an emotion inside their head, and that's great. If you're able to do that, awesome. But the majority of us, when we see, it's plus $200 trade, in the positive, and then it pulls back to 150, some people go like, well, wait, that's way too much. I lost. I should have closed it at 200. But then they close it and then it continues on, and it could have been a $300 trade. So, that kind of thing happens when you're watching it all the time. But what I do is that I set a trailing stop so I don't have to watch the trade. I just know that it's going to do what it's supposed to do. And if it grabs the stop loss in profit, I don't have to worry about it. It just occurs. And typically speaking, it is either a great opportunity to start another continuation and actually catch more pips within the same trend, or it's a reversal and I can catch it the other way. So again, different platforms operate different ways. And so I'm just going to show you how to do it on TradingView. This will be the first time I'm trying on TradingView. On MT4, you simply right click on the trade that's active and you can set a trailing stop right there. So anyways, let's go ahead and let's just open a trade here just for sake. I'm not doing a technical analysis here. Probably wouldn't even enter here. Maybe I would. Let's see. No, I wouldn't enter there. I would probably enter here. Is that right? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, no, actually I would enter here. So then my ATR on this one here is 870. So 870 times 1.5, let's get my calculator. $870 times 1.5 plus my spread, 15.55 And then for the ticks on the top side, I'm just gonna drag this into position here. 1.5, there it is, okay. Okay, so now what's happening with this trailing stop? The idea behind a trailing stop is that as the market moves up, after this point here where my take profit is, I would be setting the distance of this right here. That becomes where my stop loss jumps to. So instead of down here at that point, you know, well, I mean, you can even make it where it's at 1.1 or 1-to-1 ratio. Come on, grab it, there we go. So once it's there, then what happens is that my trailing stop bumps up to here. Now I'm guaranteed to not lose this trade at all. And that can move as the market goes up. So when it reaches this peak right here, my stop loss is going to be right here. As it continues to go up, as you can see, my stop loss would not have been taken out. And then it would have moved up again. Whoop. Let's grab the right one. Come on. There we go. So, and then it moves up here. There's a new high here. So my stop loss is now here. And then as it climbs up further, my stop loss continues to follow along with the price. Literally, you can watch it on your platform, NT4, whatever you're using. You can actually watch that stop loss climb up and follow the price action as it goes up. So here is where the peak is, and then you can see that it pulled back enough to actually hit that stop loss. Now, here's a bonus part of this video. My stop loss, my trailing stop, is the same distance as my original stop loss, this 15.55. So that means that if I extend it to the very top, I've had some people get confused by this when they see my videos. You can't possibly close at the top. No, I know. But again, take into consideration that my stop loss equals 1 unit of ratio of my risk to reward. I don't know how to say that with perfect vernacular, but so 3.67 is the win ratio, the reward to risk ratio of this movement here. Now, of course, I'm not catching it up to here. I'm catching it down to here, probably in this area here. So the equivalent would be 5.7 minus 1.55. So we just grab that. It's 14.5. So then I just go ahead and watch what happens here, right? My ratio is 3.67. Get the number again. 4.145. Look at that, 2.67. So instead of doing that, all that, I just drag it to the top. There's my top ratio, and I minus 1 off of it, so 2.68, and that becomes my reward to my risk on that one. So that is the concept of a trailing stop and how it fits into the way that I trade. So I hope that helps. Again, it's all different based on your platform. I encourage you to look into your platform to see how to set a trailing stop. Okay, so thank you so much to the comments. They keep them coming. That's how I get good content for YouTube, to make sure that it's relevant to you. I am going to be working on a bunch more dumb strategies, scalping different currency pairs. But this here is an instrumental part of my trading strategy, my trailing stop. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. See you out there.